Thanks so much for tuning in once again. I'm here to recap this Thursday's episode that just happened. So, if you have not seen it yet, turn this off. This is going to be all spoilers. But I'm just going to tell you that it's probably something that went as you expected because there wasn't too many twists and turns more than what we saw on the live feeds and what we already knew. So, let's start at the beginning. There's not too much to talk about with Brochella, to be honest. So I'm not really going to deep dive into that part of the footage that they showed. I'm just going to say the most important thing that I was paying attention to was the goodbye messages to Jasmine. Monte did not reveal the leftovers in his goodbye message. Michael and Brittany obviously strategically revealed the leftovers in their goodbye messages for jury management. Taylor chose not to actually reveal the leftovers, but she definitely said, I said coming in that I was not going to vote out a black woman or put a black woman on the block, let's say, because she did. She was one of the votes that voted out Jasmine, but she did not put her on the block, and she emphasized in her goodbye message that she had many chances to do so. So I thought that was strategic on the part of Michael, Brittany, and Taylor. I wasn't sure what Monte was doing with that. Now, all the drama took place on the outside. We didn't really see too much of the outside, I guess, due to this wall yeller that everybody is talking about. So honestly, for me, that kind of dragged out the split house twist. I've heard varying things about the split house twist in terms of a lot of people didn't like it. A lot of people did like it because they thought, wow, it finally splits up the leftovers and they don't like having big groups make it to the last 7. For me, I thought it was an okay twist. It just felt like it dragged on really long. And the fact that the live feeds for the outside got cut down for a significant portion of time kind of made it feel even longer. But anyways, getting to the outside of the house. Terrence reveals that Kyle said that Monte and Joseph run the alliance basically together. So at first, it's looking like Terrence is trying to get information to make a decision about whether he wants Joseph or Kyle to go home. I was confused about that. Kyle talks to Alyssa and Turner. I think he talked to Alyssa first and told Alyssa that was a last-minute decision by Terrence, and he was surprised by that. Terrence gives Kyle assurance that he only put him on the block to keep the peace, according to him. So Joseph is making this pitch. Joseph says, let's all talk together. I don't know which one of them was the first to suggest it, but Terrence and Joseph came to the conclusion that everybody is going to have an open discussion about everything that went down. Again, I have to say, Joseph, what are you doing, bro? Because Joseph tries to convince Kyle's girlfriend that Kyle has been lying to her this whole time. That was not really the move. The move was, for me, I mean, he was already kind of on a sinking ship, but the best move for me would have been to try to convince Turner, because Turner was kind of, Alyssa was going to vote how she was going to vote, obviously. So he should have been trying to talk to Turner and convince him, like, hey, we've been bros this whole time. We've been working for the same alliance. I've never betrayed you, etc., etc. Turner, I think, was already heavily leaning towards voting Joseph out to save his own game. But the thing is, as soon as Joseph put Turner's name in it, it seemed like he was like, oh, I am far from even thinking about defending you now. Joseph played the whole outside wrong, and the fate was sealed. It was a tense conversation. Alyssa was coming at him, saying he was so untrustworthy, blah, blah, blah. I mean, to me, Joseph is not any less trustworthy than Kyle, but obviously they're in a showmance and she's going to ride for her man. And that was that. They vote Joseph out, and there was a rather interesting interview afterwards with Julie and Joseph. I mean, sometimes her interviews, I think, for the last couple were a little bit more tame and less direct, and I think this one was pretty direct. So she was trying to get Joseph to admit, basically, that he was not a fan of Kyle's game. He spoke about his moral compass not being the same as Kyle's. You know, he was trying to be political. And Julie flat out says, "It sounds like you just don't respect his game, pretty much." And he was like, "Yeah, I don't." So that was a funny moment in there. Julie also asked him about what he wants for himself and Taylor, and if he's sad that he was not able to say goodbye to Taylor. And his answer was also a little bit political, but he also said, "I hope she reaches out to me." I mean, that could mean anything. I remember in the cookout season, they were asking Derek X about Hannah, and he kind of said something like that. And, he ended up with Claire. So that could mean anything. She could like Monty. She could like Joseph. She could like neither of them. It is what it is on that regard. But that's the end of my notes. It was a predictable episode in terms of who went home. The part that I was most interested to see was when they came back together. But I was disappointed that they showed so little of that. It was just 1 minute left in the episode. They showed them seeing each other. It was interesting to see them be like, "Hey, we saw the whole hugs," and we were looking at the faces to see the shocked reactions, mostly for the inside of the house, right? Oh, and one thing that I did forget to mention was that Terrence, Turner, Kyle, and Alyssa decided to form the After Party, which they said is an alliance of 4 versus the alliance of 4 in the house. I'm wondering if there's going to be a hard line. In terms of Kyle, you already know. He's definitely for the After Party because that's what he has. Turner is kind of the swing player to me because Terrence has been on the outs. Alyssa's going to go with Kyle. The 3 of them are kind of bonded. Turner, you don't know if he's going to stay with the After Party or if he was just happy to guarantee that he was going to make it to the next week. So the inside of the house has already talked and said, if we don't see Joseph coming back, we're going to know that Turner and Kyle had something to do with this. So this coming week, the HOH is a big swing. It's a huge swing. Depending on which half of the house gets that HOH, that's going to change the whole game and kind of decide, I think, what's going to end up being the final 3 or 4 players. And we're going to see what happens with that. It sucks to me that we had to go through all of this and we barely got anything that we didn't already know. But I guess that's just part of the game. They try different things. Overall, it was an okay episode and it was an okay week for me. And the leftovers are officially done. So we're going to see what happens on Sunday. And I will see you guys again sometime soon.